Good afternoon, everybody. I really appreciate the introduction. Thanks, Laura, for putting last night's budget into the proper historical context. I really appreciate the invitation from Morris, the support of the sponsors, and I wanted to thank Stephen and Westpac for supporting the lunch again. I'm grateful for the hospitality, thanks to the Press Club and to the Parliament staff. And I'm also grateful to all of you who've turned up and backed up after another busy budget night, to gather again on Ngunnawal and Ngambri land, to acknowledge elders and customs and culture, to put our third budget in its proper context and to take your questions once again. I think this is the 10th time I've spoken at the Press Club, and I think last night was my 18th budget lockup. And I'm about to out myself, given Laura's introduction. It was me that asked Laura how many budgets she had covered, and I know that my 18 is almost half as many as Laura has done in her time covering Commonwealth budgets. I also know my 18, about half as many as Laura Tingle, about twice as many as Laura Chalmers, who is also here today and was here with our kids last night. And I'll hope you indulge me when I say there is something about having them around in budget week that just absolutely fills my heart, and I can't thank you enough and thank them enough for everything. And also to give a shout out to Nan and John, who are at home in Logan City looking after our little Jack, and to thank them for all they do for our family as well. Now, after all of these budgets, two things are really, really clear to me. The first is that the credit for budgets is never adequately shared, which is why I'm always grateful for this opportunity to be here and to provide a shout out, particularly to my office, really quite remarkable group of people, and also to my department, the Commonwealth Treasury. And so I wanted to say to Stephen and Jenny and Glyn and all the officials and all of the staff right across the government who worked around the clock to put it together, just how much we appreciate your work. I also wanted to acknowledge and thank the Prime Minister for being here once again. I'm not sure the PM has missed a Press Club address from me as Treasurer, and Morris is nodding, which is a very generous thing for you to do, PM. I appreciate that. But much more importantly than that, I think I speak on behalf of the whole Cabinet when I thank you for the really inclusive way that you lead our team. It means a lot to us. We're very fortunate and we're very grateful for that as well. And I'm especially grateful to you, Anthony, for the opportunity to work in and with your team, with the Outstanding Expenditure Review Committee represented here today that includes Richard and Penny and Catherine and Stephen and Michelle and both of the Marks in our Cabinet. And I wanted to thank you in particular, PM, for the opportunity to work so closely with my absolutely invaluable and unfailingly selfless friend in Katie Gallagher. I think I said at this time last year, and I mean it again this time, I simply could not ask for and I could not hope for a better colleague. And so much of the workload is carried by finance ministers in any government, but I think that is especially true in our government. So please put your hands together for Katie Gallagher. The second thing I've learned after all these years is that budgets get notoriously oversimplified. Our first budget in 2022 was about funding our commitments in key areas like early childhood education, but it was also about cleaning up the waste and the rorts in the budget. Last year's budget was about a first surplus in 15 years and fighting inflation, but it was also about strengthening Medicare. Last night's was primarily about easing the cost of living, a second surplus and a future made in Australia. But it was also about more homes for Australians. It was about the care economy. It was about broadening opportunity. And this budget was more ambitious without being any less responsible. We had more to do and we had less to do it with, which probably made it the hardest of the three to land. Because along with all of the elements that would have had a familiar ring to you last night, the focus on responsible economic management, the cost of living, renewable energy, the care economy, housing and Medicare, there was also a greater emphasis on security, on investment as well, and more nuance in the fiscal strategy. This budget was all about relief and restraint, and it was about renewal. Relief was the cost of living package for people doing it tough, which is substantial and responsible at the same time. Restraint allowed us to forecast a second surplus to pay down lots of debt and to keep the pressure off inflation, all at the same time as we took important steps to renew our industrial base and our energy base as well.